financing our capital or our development expenditure, or even our recurrent expenditure, Honorable Speaker. We changed our education system from 844 by Uhuru Kenyatta regime to CBE or CBC. We knew we had a deficit of 116,000 teachers, Honorable Speaker. When we changed, Honorable Speaker, I do not know what I have said because the CBC...
Order. Everybody will have their moment. We will not have a situation in which you interrupt endlessly. He is making a contribution. Wait until he completes. When you get, what's your point of order?
I have respect to the majority leader, because being majority leader, it takes a lot of energy and efforts to be there. But for record purposes, is it in order to say that 844 system of government was initiated during Uhuru's time and they were changing it now to this time? Let's just be factual.
No, he didn't say 844, he said something else. The CBC. Yes.
You know, my brother Undo, I know, was touched when I mentioned the name Uhuru Kenyatta. Not 844, and actually says 844 system of government. Is the 844 system of education. And it's a fact of life. When the former CS for education, Amina Mohammed, slowed down on the transition from 844 to CBC, she was fired by President Uhuru Kenyatta and brought in those who he thought would fast track the transition to CBC. But that left this country in a very uncertain time that I do not have time to go into that, Honorable Speaker. But we know, and I was saying the point I was making is that part of our recurrent expenditure is going to paying salaries and wages. There are 116,000 teachers that we said in our manifesto as Kenya Kwanza that we are short of 116,000 teachers. Facts again. The chair for education is here. He will tell you 100,000 out of those 116,000 teachers have since been employed. We have to pay them. These teachers are not employed to stand in shopping centers in Kikuyu or in Kiharu or in Funyula. They are teaching our children in schools, and we have to pay them, Honorable Speaker. Because we are paying these children, Honorable Speaker, we must then ask ourselves, then how do we finance this recurrent expenditure and capital expenditure without overburdening the Kenyan taxpayers with additional taxes? Because if you take that truth, Kenyans have loudly told us they do not have space for additional taxation. And Honorable Speaker, that is why I was speaking to the establishment of the National Infrastructure Fund, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and Honorable Speaker, new innovative ways of financing our development growth and our development expenditure outside of the budget through such initiatives as securitization. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to support this motion by the Debt Committee and encourage them to be forthright members of our society, to be truthful and faithful to the truth, and to help steer our nation through the problems that we have found ourselves in, because we are in problems that were not created in these 3 years of the William Ruto administration. Problems of a decade ago, 10 years ago, created over 10 years ago. I heard the member for Funyula tell us that the owners of capital, Honorable Speaker, wanted us to continue borrowing domestically. And it is true. And he knows those who are presiding over state capture in the last regime. They are at pains today because we are consistently moving away from that through innovative means of financing our budget. We are not borrowing domestically. We are not growing their banks. No wonder some of them have begun selling their banks to South Africans. Shame on you.
Rendekere Mugambi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have listened to the debate. Mr. Speaker, I am a very disturbed legislature. Mr. Speaker, what I have heard is completely out of the debate which has been presented by the committee. Mr. Speaker, on page 24 to page 26 the committee has made observations and it has made recommendations. And what I thought is that we shall confine ourselves to what the committee has observed and what the committee has recommended. What it has turned out to be is a jargon exchange as to who is light and who is long. Mr. Speaker, I came here because I'm concerned, like any other Kenyan citizen, on the issue of debts and borrowing for priority projects. The timelines, and specifically because we have focused ourselves on the long-term borrowing, which now is becoming a major problem. We started feeling the effect of borrowing after this government came into force. And we cannot run away from that fact, because this is the time now we are paying a lot of debt, and a lot of the money is going towards the debt repayment. Mr. Speaker, if we take the volume of money that is being paid as for debt, it is really affecting our development budget. And that's a fact. What I would have expected to hear from the people who have more knowledge than others, as they claim to be, is that on the recommendations of the committee. Mr. Speaker, what should be our focus? What has been lacking, Mr. Speaker, is a situation where the debt, the growth of debt service expenditure does not match with the Section 16 of the PMF Act, Cap 412A. And what the committee is recommending is that we need to start reducing the deficit and stabilize the public debt. I think this is what the committee is recommending. But when we start now talking about other issues, the committee has made a very important. And that's one of the problems that we have been having over the years. And I don't want to confine myself into the thinking of Uhuru, Kibaki, I don't know, Moi or Kenyatta. The point is, all these government have not been focusing on this, and the right time now has come. And that's what the committee is breeding. Mr. Speaker, it is like it was an open-ended thing. Once the National Assembly has made recommendations, the National Treasury does not act immediately. And that's what the committee is saying now. Within 30 days of adoption of this report, the Treasury should submit to the National Assembly a clear debt reduction path indicating annual target, policy measures, and timelines for achieving 55% debt. I think this is very important, and we need to support. So in terms of setting the time limit, because before it was left open, they would submit any time. But now the committee is recommending 30 days. That's very important, Mr. Speaker. The other important thing is we have been borrowing without matching the expenditures with the priorities. And that's what the committee is doing, Mr. Speaker. Let's borrow money, let's put debt, let's get debt, but they need to be matched with the project in terms of development. And finally, Mr. Speaker, it seems that we have been having problems on disclosure on what the money is going to be used and how the money is going to be used. And the committee now has come up with a clear guideline that we need to disclose how this money, how these debts are going to be used. So with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, let's not try to play with the gallery. I expected my friend Did Nyolo, whom I respect very much, to confine himself on this. But because he chose not to, I chose to focus on my comment on the